Micah Parsons has requested a trade from the Dallas Cowboys. That is the big news in the National Football League. I don't think he's going to be traded. I'd be stunned, honestly, if he got traded. Dallas Cowboys would have to be absolutely just out of their damn minds if they traded Micah Parsons, barring some sort of Godfather offer from some team that they could not refuse. But I highly doubt that's going to happen, given the fact that you also need to pay Micah Parsons in addition to making all those, sending those draft picks to the Dallas Cowboys. So I would not anticipate that. I think we're just headed towards a standoff here until the Dallas Cowboys decide to say, hey, David Mulugeta, the agent of Micah Parsons, how you doing? Let's start talking facts and figures. Up until that point, though, I think we're just going to continue to sit where we are right now. And I guess one of the developments from earlier this morning at Cowboys training camp practice in Oxnard is that for the first time, Micah Parsons was not in attendance during the walkthrough on Friday. He, of course, had been holding in to avoid the fines, was not in attendance today. So this was obviously, it's been bubbling, and Parsons obviously was getting ready to go out there and request the trade as he did not show up for practice. But I did think it was really interesting, the locker room and how they have responded over the last 24 hours, not even that, maybe the last like 16 hours about Micah Parsons and his trade requests and like the contract negotiations that have kind of gone nowhere based on the lack of communication between the two sides. About 20 minutes ago, CeeDee Lamb, of course, who was in this very position last year, wanting a contract, he was holding out. He never showed up to Oxnard. He got his money once the team returned back to Dallas the final couple weeks before the start of the regular season. He understands what Micah Parsons is going through, and he's tweeted, quote, "Never fails, dog. Just pay the man what you owe him. No need for the extracurricular." I would tell CD, dude, Jerry Jones loves the extracurricular. Yeah, that's what he loves, man. And like CD understands that, but like I get his sense of frustration, and he's 100% right. Like how CeeDee Lamb feels is how I feel. Like just pay him. Like, just pay him. Like, what are we doing? Like, stop the nonsense. Stop the reality show. Just pay the guy because you're going to pay him eventually. And that's what's so frustrating about this thing as a fan. And we'll get into the betting side of it as well later on in this segment. But I just want to say this. Like, everyone knows he's going to get paid by the Cowboys, whether it's August 15th, August 30th, September 2nd. The contract is coming. So, like, why do we ever need to get to this point where he wants to go and, like, go nuclear and request the trade? Like Don Van Natta, who is covers a lot of like investigative stories over at ESPN, but wrote a book on Jerry Jones. He even tweeted about an hour ago saying that Jerry Jones doesn't mind paying a few extra million in a mega contract if he and the Cowboys can generate $100+ million worth of free publicity by dominating the NFL conversation in July and August. Like, this is Jerry Jones' preseason soap opera playbook, rinse, repeat. Like, we've done this so many times, whether it's CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Zach Martin, Ezekiel Elliott, like Des Bryant, like on and on and on down the line. This is what it is. Hell, even Emmitt Smith had to hold out and miss 2 games in 1993. Like, Emmitt Smith missed the first 2 games of the season holding out for a new contract, and they started 0-2 the year after they won the Super Bowl, and then that's when they finally signed it. Like, this is the Jones family playbook. Micah Parsons is just the latest chapter, and it makes it very, very frustrating to see this kind of playing out this way, Jared.
Yeah, the CeeDee Lamb thing's funny because it was just last year. The Emmitt Smith thing, like, it's hard to compare. The CBA, what was it, like 15 CBAs ago?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's definitely 15 CBAs ago.
Long.
But like, they don't care. If you're a good player, they'll make you wait.
And listen, I think that's the whole point of this. This is all for drama. And who knows? Maybe it's a soap opera. Maybe Jerry went to Micah and said, "Hey, listen, Micah, I'm gonna pay you eventually. Just we're gonna do it on my terms, not your terms." And maybe that just rubbed him the wrong way. I think at the end of the day, as long as he shows up week 1 against the Eagles and he's bringing the heat, it's really hard for me to say that this is a negative thing. I do think it's this like dark cloud that like hopefully will turn to sunny skies soon. Mm-hmm. But to your point, we're talking about during the break, like I don't think it's going to impact his play on the field. At least I hope not. And if it doesn't, if it goes the other way, and all of a sudden he's playing with like an extra chip on his shoulder, it's really hard to say that Jerry didn't make the right move here. But I agree, it's very frustrating. It's just, if this is the way he does business, it's like there's like a metaphor about a snake, and you get bit by a snake. You're not going to chase the snake around and ask why the snake bit you. Like, that's what snakes do. They just bite people if they get too close. So if this is what Jerry does, this is how he operates, we can scream and be upset about it till we're blue in the face, but this is just what he does. And this is how he does business. So as long as it doesn't change the outcome on the field, I think that's the most important part. Now, if Micah says, screw you, Jerry, you've gone too far this time, and I'm going to start tanking, or I'm not going to show up for practice, or I'm going to really let this impact my play on the field, which will hurt Micah in the long run because that'll impact his wallet, then you've got yourself a problem. But until we get to that point, until either A, a trade is made, which I think is the far unlikely scenario, although I'm sure calls will be made, or B, we get to week 1 and Micah's in the tank, really this is all just fun and games and drama to, drum up some excitement and some entertainment value before the season actually starts.
I'll tell you one thing it has drummed up here is that it's drummed up some solidarity, I should say, in that Cowboys locker room.
There you go.
Even yesterday, right? like last night, Wanye Thomas, who's a defensive back for the Dallas Cowboys, he tweeted at #NewProfilePic, and it's a photo of Micah Parsons. Earlier today, DeMarvion Overshown, their really talented young linebacker who's recovering from the knee injury. He said #NewProfilePic, and it's a photo of he and Micah Parsons from last year's Thanksgiving game. The guy, and we obviously read the CeeDee Lamb tweet from 20 minutes ago. Yeah. Clearly, the players are on his side. Dak Prescott earlier this training camp said Micah's going to get paid. Micah's going about his business. Everyone is behind Micah Parsons. If this were oh man, he needs to get his ass into training camp and start practicing, that's when we'd have issues. But the fact that everyone is all right, Micah's our dude. He's one of our leaders. He's the best player. Pay him what you owe him. I think that's a positive for the Dallas Cowboys, to where when I look at it from a betting standpoint, I'd be much, much more inclined to sell the news. Wait, what do we say in finance? Buy the rumor, sell the news. The news right now is that the news right now is that the sky is falling in Dallas and the best player might be gone. I'm selling that. I think the Dallas Cowboys, they're still going to have Micah Parsons. I don't think he's crazy enough to miss game checks. He doesn't strike me as a Le'Veon Bell type. Unless he's missing game checks, this is going to be a non-factor this time next month. And in fact, I think he's going to get a deal between now and September 1st. But as it stands right now, I don't think this is going to impact what actually happens on the field, to where if you feel about the Dallas Cowboys how I feel about them, which is I think they're a bet-on team this year, nothing today should change your mind about that opinion. Absolutely nothing today. Micah Parsons could request to be the next president of the United States. Nothing today should change how you feel about the Dallas Cowboys. If you were low on this team going into today, you should still be low on them. If you were high on them going into today, you should still be high on them. If you were just lukewarm, you should still be lukewarm. Nothing has happened. Yes, he requested a trade, but with today's CBA, it's kind of hollow, man. Myles Garrett literally requested a trade Super Bowl week.
Oh, yeah.
Nick and I were in New Orleans. We were in New Orleans, and guess how we started Super Bowl week? Talking about Myles Garrett requesting a trade from the Cleveland Browns. Fast forward 2 months later, or even a month later, Myles Garrett, highest paid defensive player in the NFL. These things happen. This is how these things play out. It's just business. And when unfortunately the two sides are not talking, one of the sides is going to say, well, I'm going to talk to somebody that will listen. That somebody is us all on the outside as we're listening and we're discussing it today. But I am not batting one eye. Parsons will be there week 1, opening night, when this team takes on the Philadelphia Eagles. And I don't think the betting market has reacted. Have you seen any of the betting market movement?
No.
There's been nothing. It's still 7, Philly's 7. The Cowboys' odds to win the Super Bowl, to win the NFC East, to win total, it's all the same. I haven't seen anything negative. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm missing something, but I have not seen any sort of movement in the betting markets to this news today, because it's a nothing burger. And I think all the people who are influential and can move numbers all see it the same way as I see it.
Agreed. There has been actually, I'm checking the sharp shops here in town as we speak, going through each line history. Nothing since the open back in May. I mean, these lines have been available since May. You can bet the 7 if you want. It's been there for going on 4 months now. Feel free. I don't think this is going to move the market. The only thing that would deter me is if he decided to pick Aaron Rodgers as his vice presidential candidate. Then I might get a little bit scared there for Micah. That would be the only thing that would maybe question his judgment a little bit.
I mean, he can request to be the president of the United States. He's not old enough. He's only 26. So
No,
I guess that request
that's true.
would fall on deaf ears like this one's probably is.
Yeah, the Parsons Rogers. There we go. We just got the from Kenny, our
He's
studio.
not even old enough
thing.
in 2028. It's like he might have to go 2036.
2038. Yeah, the Parsons Rogers campaign. Hey, you know what? I would absolutely vote for Parsons and Rogers. That's a ticket that has my approval. I don't even know what political parties will be around in 2038, or there'll be some artificial
free Sunday
intelligence
ticket for every American.
society.
There we go.
Yeah, there'll be an artificial intelligence bot probably running society then. So we probably have bigger fish to fry. This is one of those scenarios, and I think that's why this show and other shows like it that can not just take the news and react to it, but then actually digest what the betting markets are doing because of the news. There are plenty of news dumps that will move the market immediately, within seconds. In fact, there are plenty of news dumps where the market moves before the news even becomes public because one of those insiders, not an NFL insider, but a gambling insider, aka a sharp betting group, syndicate, human, someone who's a market mover, gets wind of that information before Schefter or Rappaport post it. And they attack the market before it even goes live. In fact, that's to me the more likely of the scenario. If you see a number move on like a Monday morning and you're like, why is this number moving a half a point or 3 points? It's probably because a quarterback got hurt and the news just isn't public yet. Like that's how you know when something actually matters and when something is just froth. This is very entertaining froth. It's high. It's, again, more entertaining than any reality show, any Love Island episode right now that's out there. It's popcorn consuming type fodder, but it's not something that's going to move the market, nor is it something that's going to change my opinion on the Cowboys this year, unless we get to week 1 and things are still unsettled and Micah continues to say, I don't want to play or I'm not buying. Like, then I will change my opinion. But we've got a whole month until then. So for the next month, strap in, grab your popcorn. Exciting for all the, jabs that are going to go taking place on social media. He said this and this and that. CeeDee Lamb and the rest of the Cowboys team will probably be showing their support for their player. I'm sure Jerry will come out and do some kind of press conference where he tells his side, and everyone's going to have their cameras and their soundbite clicks ready. But that's pretty much all this is going to be. It's going to be a giant sparring contest for the next month, and eventually one side's going to blink first, and it's probably going to be Jerry.
You know what's funny about this is that it was earlier this week, or it might have been over the weekend. It was actually over the weekend, last Saturday. Stephen Jones was like, they were asking him about all what do you think of all the chants about pay Micah? Because the fans were chanting, pay Micah, when Jerry Jones was addressing everybody in attendance at a Cowboys training camp.
Too?
It's standard. that's how it goes sometimes. But Stephen Jones was like, we'd like to pay Micah as well, but Micah's got to want to be paid. Like pretty much putting it on Micah Parsons. Well, I think Micah Parsons with his trade request is telling you he wants to be paid. So there's no more like Micah's got to want to be paid nonsense that they were trying to spew here. Once again, Cowboys, they're just absolutely getting destroyed in the PR battle here.
You know what it reminds
like we've
me
mentioned.
of? You know what it reminds me of, Femi? Sorry to cut you off. It reminds me of when you had like a toxic girlfriend and like the way she would get you to like show her more attention is to threaten that she's going to leave. Like that, like that's and deep down, she really wants you to chase her, but she wants to stay and she wants to feel loved. That's what the Cowboys are. They just want to feel like Micah's so invested that he will do anything to get this contract. It's very toxic.
It is incredibly toxic. It's getting to be toxic. But like honestly though, like if you're Parsons, and like it's the last thing I'll say about this, like on the next segment we'll get to Terry McLaurin in the Hall of Fame game as well, because Micah Parsons isn't the only person requesting a trade in the NFC East. We do have the receiver in Washington, Terry McLaurin, who requested a trade yesterday as we were getting off the air. What I'll say about this is that for the Dallas Cowboys, like it's so silly and ridiculous and backwards. And in the long run, they're actually costing themselves money doing this. Like you cost yourselves money. Like Parsons said in his statement, I wanted to get paid after year 3 when he was eligible, heading into last season. Now, of course, they were doing the Dak deal. They were doing the CeeDee Lamb deal. So they were not going to do all 3 in the same offseason. But like when you get ahead of that stuff, like I don't know, the Eagles do. When you get ahead of it, it saves you money in the long run instead of having to do this where the player feels like they must go out and be absolutely insane to go out there and try to get some kind of urgency drummed up for the Cowboys to start the negotiations. But hey, that's how things go. Once again, like Jared said, it's froth. It's entertaining froth. It's tasty froth. But at the end of the day, the meat and potatoes of it all, Parsons will be on the field week 1 because everybody shows up week 1 unless you're Le'Veon Bell